We just went from serious, hard-hitting journalism in regards to Square Enix, and now we can talk about the more goony side of life now, shall we? Because we got another 2B Nier Automata crossover. Okay, this one comes straight out of Ubisoft. I don't know, man. Is this Siege? I have no idea exactly where this he, him, she, they is, but bro, you take a look at that jawline and you try to tell me that that's 2B. Okay, that is ridiculous. Okay, as Hypnotic has pointed out, shout out to him. You will find Ubisoft's creation of 2B. Yeah, of course, in the other you will find Stellar Blades crossover, which we looked at before, and well, to be completely honest, one looks a little bit different than the other, and one's going to be a little bit more appealing than the other. I'm not entirely sure when the DLC, I think it just came out or it's about to come out, okay? But that's how much I actually care about Stellar Blade. I might get around to play it if it's, like a deep enough discount or something like that. It's just the whole Souls-like crap isn't really doing it for me. And if I was to go ahead and dip my toe into that pool, it would very likely be Monkey Game, because that one actually looks fun as hell. The other one just kind of looks like a slog, bro. It kind of looks like Down syndrome. Dark Souls with just, a better aesthetic, and don't even get me started on that obnoxious music. The fact that that's getting nominated for anything makes me want to put my head underneath 2B's Ubisoft jaw. But if it wasn't obvious to begin with, and the fact that, we're having these conversations right now as a sign of pride, kind of lets you know the state that the gaming industry is in, okay? Like, we've known for a long time, those of you who have been plugged in for a minute, that gaming, it's been on a downward slide even longer, I would argue, than mainstream Hollywood. A lot of people started to get hip to the idea that, hey, there's something funny going on here. In and around the time of The Last Jedi, 2017, was a lot of people started to get flicked on to that in the wake of, TDS really setting off during the first Trump presidency, and I could argue that it's only going to get worse from here with the second, but I digress for a moment. But as somebody who's been maybe a little bit more hip to this stuff for a while, especially as a gamer, running it back to when Feminist Frequency, Anita Sarkeesian, all of that shit, original Gamergate was starting in 2014, and then even before that, noticing how the commercials on television would always just have the bumbling man who was either presented as being, yes, borderline retarded or a borderline abuser, going, what is going on here? What's with all this divisive politics. What's with all this identity politics? How the problem solver in any commercial or any sitcom or television drama or anything like that? Why is it always the minority woman who's always coming over and she's the problem solver? What's going on over here? But a lot more people have been clued into that fact, and I'm grateful for that. And now that finally the world is starting to heal, and developers like the first Descendant, a big online multiplayer shooter or something like that, I'm not entirely sure. I know that I've used a couple of the chicks in thumbnails because, they actually look like chicks, quite a departure from what you're normally getting from the Western Front. But now they're announcing plans to add jiggle physics to their shooter. It's like, bro, I guess if you're trying to do the whole distraction tactics, I appreciate that. But it's funny, right? Because yes, prompting outrage from critics. Gamers are the most pathetic incel losers there are. Yeah, exactly. Cool. But the same people crying about that stuff, are also talking about the importance of the Acolyte on Star Wars, because they can finally see their deviant sexual behavior represented on screen. I see what you clap at, so what you deride doesn't bother me all that much. Let's go. A little over 2 weeks after delivering on fan requests that had a tail-free option for the game's Twisted Worship skin, and Korean developer Nexon has yet again answered one of the players' base most regular demands, and announced that proper jiggle physics will soon be added to their sci-fi looter shooter. And as somebody who grew up at the time when the Dead or Alive fighting games were super popular, and then also they had that little spin-off which was actually a fun volleyball game, but Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, those jiggle physics, they were jiggling. And they were hilarious back in the cut. It wasn't like sexy, or even the fact that you could put Tina in what amounted to just very, very small specks of sand and call that a bikini. It was hilarious. Oh yeah, and you can go to a casino. I think you could play, was it poker or blackjack? I think it was blackjack. Poker would have been a much more funny game to play, but I digress. But games used to be about having fun, not being a soapbox for a bunch of otherwise unimpressive individuals to spread their propaganda. But now, Now at least we're starting to come back around to this stuff. Nexon never shied away from risque designs in the first Descendant of female characters, with its art direction from the very start, having leaned into the concept of sex appeal, as seen in the fact that a good number of its selectable skins leave almost nothing to the imagination. However, in light of the game's risque aesthetics and high-paced action, the players were quick to notice one particular graphical inconsistency, namely the fact that although the titular Descendants spend most of their time running, jumping, fighting, shaking their chests and backsides, they did not properly react to their movement. And as you can see, I guess that's the character select screen. Like I said, I haven't played this game at all whatsoever, bro. I have no idea what type of game we're dealing with. I've seen them with guns before. That's about the most I know about this. But that's all set to change with an upcoming update. Oh, as Nexon has announced that Jiggle physics will soon be bouncing into the world of Ingress. I'll take your word for it. Taking to the game's official Discord on November 14th, the first Descendant producer Bayum Jun Lee informed players, I wanted to share some important news. Actually, I don't know how to do a Korean accent, so we'll shelve the playful racism for a moment. So I decided to come online late tonight. After a lengthy discussion with the art department today, a decision has been made to add the much-requested Jiggle physics. This was decided only a short while ago. So the details of when and how it will be implemented in the game are yet to be finalized, because, yeah, that's a big tweak to the engine, honestly. Not just, talking about the ample busts and buttocks and the sheer size of those that need to be updated. That's a fair amount of code, brother. He added, I hope that this will be a pleasant surprise for our dear successors who have been waiting for it. Obviously, rough translation, stuff like that. And yeah, good on him. In a follow-up post, Lee further noted, rather than turning Jiggle physics on by default for all players, Nexon will instead considering adding an on and off option for Jiggle physics to provide players with more freedom of choice. Yeah, and if you're going to go ahead and do that, I want a slider, so I want those things thanging all the time so that they're just, moving at ludicrous speed. Because that's just fun. That used to be what gaming was about. Remember when just about every game that was coming out had a big head mode? Remember the Konami code was in games that didn't even need extra lives? Like, shit used to be fun. That's all microtransactions and lecturing. I hate it. And for those, yes, curious by Lee's last statement regarding age ratings, the producer would further clarify that the decision not to include Jiggle physics initially was not due to age rating concerns. In fact, it's been under review for some time. But we have decided when to proceed, which is why we have avoided answering related questions. All right. But of course, oh, there you go. Somebody who makes sexual degeneracy their entire existence is quick to deride other people for going, we like boobs that bounce. It's funny. But of course, yes, the news was met with applause from actual First Descendant players. The usual crowd of social media freaks were quick to condemn the decision, with many, unsurprisingly, accusing the move of nothing more than sexist incel bait. Yeah, well, again, that critique would pack a little bit more punch from somebody if they could have a biological orgasm instead of some perpetually sexually frustrated freak. Sexualizing women is never okay. That isn't a woke claim. It's a fact. Yeah, but here's the deep, dark secret. The only people who sexualize women are women. It's always that shitty games that need bouncing tits to be relevant. Right, wrote some freak on Twitter. How about they focus on making a good game, not garbage with tits? I mean, it's like super popular, bro. Like, I mean, when it first released in July, it had 264,000 players, and even right now, ahead of a new update, it's still clocking in at a regular 5 digits. So yeah, no, not popular at all whatsoever. No, of course not. Keeping it short. Yes, Incel's a version of Destiny. It's like, I don't even know what to talk about on this one. But yeah, it's apparently embarrassing, right? Yeah, current Nexon has yet to confirm an official date for the deployment of First Descendant's Jiggle physics. But far from the only thing, yes, being worked on, the game's development team is also putting the finishing touches on game's Season 2 update, which is set to introduce a slew of new content when it drops December 5th. No, they're just simply they're just relying on art design, which those freaks would go ahead and applaud games like Dragon Age the Veilguard for, or witty and fun and quippy characters like Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, two things that those freaks never support. That's the modern audience. They're just there to shit on things and creative endeavors that other people enjoy that they have none of the ability to create for themselves. Titled A Void Chaser. Oh, shouldn't those Crooners like something it's called Chaser. Isn't that normally what they're all about? The new season will bring with it 2 new Descendants, Keelan and Innis Rhea, a new dungeon and a new boss fight. Okay, cool, whatever. The first Descendant came out July 2nd for PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series X, and PC. Originally releasing on July 2nd to an all-current and last-gen console, save with a Nintendo Switch. Now, the online shooter draws heavy inspiration, similar genre staples like Warframe and Destiny, and doing so, asking players to choose from a starting roster of available Descendants and grinding in-game missions, to unlock more. Oh, okay, so it's a looter shooter. No wonder I have, like, very little interest in playing the game, but the fact that so many people do and they're about to launch a new season, we'll see if it ends up working out for them. I would imagine that it would. There was 200,000 people that, fairly reliably played the game, at least for a little while, and eventually did come back around to it. So yeah, there's an urge, there is a desire to play that, and as we draw closer to the end of the year, when more people are going to have much more time on their hands, yeah, they'll be running back around to it, and you'd love to see it. And then, of course, all of these freaks, oh boy, they're about to get real quiet, mostly because they're just only going to have a box of tissue and empty government assistant housing, because while the rest of the people are out there either playing games that they love with friends that they have, or spending the time, spending quality time with their friends and family IRL, these creeps, yeah, they'll just be stuck to social media trying to own the chuds. That's nice, bro. You have fun bitching, whining, and complaining. We'll have fun over here making the boobs go boing, 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 boing. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.